So you can get a bunch of attention from women, but are you actually getting action from women? That's a very different thing, okay? Right? You don't have to change the world to be a high value man. If you want to know if you're a high value guy, you have to actually sit there and ask yourself, am I providing value to the world? And is it bolstered by integrity? Okay, so what is a high value man? It's a very common phrase these days. And I've seen it, I saw it first come, I remember when the red pill was starting to evolve, right? Because the red pill evolved from the pickup artist community. And that started about 2012, 13. I saw it really coming into its infancy. And then 2015, 16, it was starting to really take off. And then, for the past 7-8 years, you've seen how it's matured and then evolved into 1,000 different movements, where mostly now it's individual mentors and coaches who are teaching their perspective of this idea of the red pill, meaning I see reality as it is. I'm not stuck in the matrix and blah, 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 blah. Everyone's stuck in the matrix, right? The only way out of the matrix is, well, we're not going to go into that. This is not a video on Buddhism. So the way to test if you are a high value man is not to fall back onto, let's call it resume checklists, right? That's a good starting place. If you just need to have an initial idea of, am I providing anything to the world, right? Because think about it. High value, right? High value. Value is something that is valuable. Okay, you have to provide value. Okay, what are you literally providing? Okay, do you make bread? You're providing bread. Okay, so I'm a provider of bread value. It keeps people alive, and it's necessary in a lot of recipes for fucking cooking. Okay, what else are you providing? Are you providing humor? Are you providing support? Are you providing inspiration? Are you providing knowledge and wisdom? Are you providing guidance? Are you providing sex, lust? Are you providing friendship, trust, faith? What are you literally providing? I want you to sit there and go, okay, I want to be a high value man. What do I provide? Because the problem with these checklists that a lot of guys are falling into with their ideas of a high value man, it's, I have status, I have money, I have a good body, I'm a leader, right? And I get women. Most of the time when I'm watching Red Pill or self-improvement, right? It's one of those things that a man is providing that he's considered high value. And the most popular one right now is getting a lot of girls and having a lot of money and just being popular. And these are very, very tempting notions of value because they're very in your face and they're results, like they're real, right? So you see someone who has a lot of money, they're traveling, all right, they're high value. Not necessarily, right? Because you need to go deep into it. How did they make their money? Did they make their money through immoral means? And immoral means does not only mean that they did something illegal or that they had shitty business tactics and were selling people crappy products, right? But they're just really good at marketing and sales. It also has to do with the thing they were selling. So were they selling anything that was destructive or harmful to men? And you can have this really idiotic perspective of like, well, if guys want to buy stuff that's, really harmful to them, that's on them. No, that's what the drug dealer says, right? He is just as responsible as the drug taker, okay? You're not absolved of responsibility just because the other party is stupid. You also have a responsibility, right? So if someone has a lot of money, what is being implied by that is they have high value, literally. I'm providing something that a lot of people are buying or a small amount of people are buying, but I charge a high amount of money, and those people are willing to pay that level of money equals value, right? Because it's just a piece of paper, right? But it has a significance behind it. It's value. So I'm getting a lot of value from the world. So you go, oh, this guy's no, not necessarily. Having a lot of money is only high value if you were providing a service that was, it doesn't have to be something serious either, right? I'm not saying that you have to, You could make fucking light bulbs. Well, they're necessary, I suppose, to live in a modern life, but they could get light bulbs from any other person, right? So it's not something that like you're selling the super unique thing. But you make good light bulbs that last for a long time. You didn't make cheap light bulbs because they would burn out quickly and people have to buy more. You made a light bulb as best as you can, right? It's not revolutionary. It didn't change the world, but it's a decent light bulb, okay? So you made a light bulb, you manufacture it, right? You pay your workers a fair wage. You could outsource it, but you still need to be paying those people a fair wage. So the manufacturing means in production is sound, and you're just very good at marketing, and you're very good at selling. And you have grown the business and grown the size of your employees. You have multiple warehouses, you have multiple locations, and this resulted in having a lot of money, right? You didn't change the fucking world, but you did light up the world in a very nice and cute way, and you're providing a service, and you have a lot of money. That money is clean, right? Dirty money doesn't only come from illegal activities. It comes from a lot of different sources, right? So it's clean and a lot of money. Okay, that is high value. But it's only one type of value, right? What do you do with that money? Now, you can do with the money what you like, right? But there are low value ways to use money, medium value ways, and high value ways, right? High value ways are giving back to people, charity, doing things for people, or using that money to make further adventures and endeavors and businesses that also continue to help people. Okay, I made all this money from light bulbs because, I don't know, it was what I was fucking good at, or it was the family business or whatever. Okay, but then I took that and I funded churches or monasteries or orphanages, or funded, medical research, or I give money to the poor, or I used it to fund, this creative business that I'd always wanted to do, and it helped create beautiful art that people can appreciate all over the world. Perfect. That's very high value. Or I just kept this money and I, provided for my family, and, I was very humble and I didn't really spend a lot of it, and, I wasn't greedy. I just, I lived a very small, gentle life. Okay, that's fine too, right? You didn't necessarily further the world, but you didn't hurt the world either. So I would consider that high value as well, right? You don't have to change the world to be a high value man. So that's money, right? You got to start thinking of these things in a much more nuanced and detailed way, rather than just get money, get bitches. And I get it, because I've been in that mentality before. Well, let's go to the bitches, right? So the girls, the angels, the lover, I use these. If you have a problem with one word and you judge my entire personality based off that, then there's no convincing you, right? So, all right, women, getting a lot of women. Is that a sign of high value? Well, what's interesting about the skill of women is that it's a much more one-to-one demonstration of skill. If I have a lot of girls, it must mean I'm good with girls. The only exception to that is if you are using an external means to create women, which is precisely what most red pill teachers teach you. I want to be attractive to women, so I'm going to go about it this way. I'm going to get status. I'm going to get money. I'm going to That's fine, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the skill of being good with women. And that's evident once you see this guy get into relationships. You see that his understanding of women actually isn't that good. Now, the one thing is that even if you do go about it like, I'm going to use money to buy status, to buy clout, to buy attention, to buy attention from girls, and you're indirectly paying for attention to girls, which gives you a lot of access to women, and then you get a lot of girls through it. I mean, guys with money and status don't necessarily have women. If you think that, you're really not that smart. They get a lot of attention from women, but the question is, can they convert that into sales, right? You got to have a great business or a great YouTube channel with like 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, right? But if you're like, oh, I want people to buy my product. If you're shitty at marketing that product and selling that product, or it's a bad product, you're not going to make a lot of money. So on the surface, it looks like you're having success, right? But are you really having success? Are those women actually sucking your dick? Are they actually letting you fuck them? And do they want to keep fucking you? And when you're in a relationship, do you know how to... Because if you truly understand women, you know how to have a good relationship, because it means you know how to communicate and deal with women. So you can get a bunch of attention from women, but are you actually getting action from women? That's a very different thing, okay? So these guys, a lot of guys who have this money and status or even looks, I mean, I worked in clubs and I saw all these guys popping off and da-da-da, and there was girls around, right? But I would talk to these girls, and they're like, yeah, this guy is blah, blah, blah. He's like, and they end up hooking up with me, the fucking poor guy who's cleaning the table and pouring the drinks, right? But they end up going home with me and sucking my dick, right? Because I understood girls. I had game, right? So these things can augment your game. But if you're using them as a substitute for game, boy, you're going to be highly disappointed. Because you're going to be like, I put all that fucking work. Right? Because I would see guys who were popping off. And they'd have girlfriends and da-da-da. But I knew they spent all their life making millions and but they never learned social skills. All these people are around them because of his success. They think he's a child. I know because I heard what they said about this guy. Right? I could see how they were treating this guy. Right? He was a nerd who made a bunch of money in technology or da-da-da, and he has a yacht and all this shit, and he has all these hot girlfriends sucking his dick. Yeah, but his girlfriend is out like fucking this guy and sucking this guy's dick and flirting with this guy. Because you don't have the skill to actually make her want you. You only have an alternative means to attract her towards you, but you actually haven't gotten the true action from her. Now, for a lot of men, that's sufficient, right? But I want the genuine thing. I don't want the bullshit, right? So if you're getting women through external means like status and money and da-da-da-da, that's fine. And you might actually get the skill of women, because if you fuck enough women, unless you're an absolute fucking idiot, you're gonna learn how women work, unless you're really just not paying attention. But the real guys who truly understand women are the men who can get the women when they're broke, when they're not that. You can't make yourself less attractive just to do a challenge run of like Dark Souls, right? Okay, I'm good looking, but that's unfair. I don't want to have this advantage, so I'm gonna cut my face. It's like, that's fucking stupid, right? So if you're good looking, then okay, that's a natural advantage that you've earned through your karma. So take advantage of it, right? But maybe you don't have status and you don't have money and you're not really popular. Maybe you're a bit weird, but you have game. You understand women. That is a high value skill because it's a one-to-one thing. I get a lot of girls, and you can't really make an excuse of like, oh, it's because you're a YouTuber, or oh, because you're rich, or oh, it's because of this and this and this. It's like, no, I was getting girls when I was broke, when I was unpopular, when da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I had skills with girls. Therefore, I have a value. I'm providing value to women, and they're paying me back with pussy. I'm just using it as a metaphor. Obviously, human connections are deeper than a business analogy, but I hope you get it, right? So, if you're high value, right, so I dealt with money, now I dealt with women, you can apply this logic to everything else in your life. What are you providing to people? Are they buying your product? Being funny. I tell jokes, people pay for my jokes with laughter. So, I provide the value of humor. But again, is it humor that hurts people? Or is it humor that points out truths about the world in a kind of way? Or is it I make people feel bad and make fun of them rather than make fun with them, right? Because true high value has morality. So at the end of the story, you have two benchmarks by which to question if you are a high value man, and there's many types of value in the world. I'm a leader. Okay, let's examine that. What are the two benchmarks? One, you're genuinely providing value and people are paying you for it, either with their money, with their discipleship, right? They want to be a student of yours, right? With their time, with their energy, with their love, with their admiration. It doesn't only, the money is not the only benchmark. So are they actually giving you value? Because that proves you're providing value. However, it also needs to have a foundation of integrity. Are you a snake oil salesman, right? Maybe you're just really good at marketing and sales, and you sell a lot of products, but you get a lot of returns and a lot of refunds because people realize it's trash, right? Or maybe they don't realize it's trash. And this is something, I'm not going to go into details because I don't care about starting wars, right? But there's a lot of people who are on the internet and teaching things, and they get a lot of admiration from people. But what they're teaching is not actually that good. But it has enough truth in it that it's better than where someone was before, and they're like, oh. But then they admire this guy like he's teaching the truth of the universe and like, oh my God, you have unlocked the dynamics between men and women and I see the truth. And it's like, dude, he like barely stuck his head above water. But to people who are drowning, just having one gulp of air is life-saving, right? But then there's people out there who are walking on water and you can't really see them because you're still drowning, right? So you're not seeing the people who truly provide real value, and they may not even be getting all the attention, or they may be, right? Because they have to be good at marketing and sales, right? Just because someone's telling the truth doesn't mean it's popular. But just because it's popular doesn't mean it's fake either. You have to use your eye of discernment and evaluation and analysis to truly gauge if someone's high value or not. So if you want to know if you're a high value guy, you have to actually sit there and ask yourself, am I providing value to the world? And is it bolstered by integrity? Honesty is pretty much the main important one. And are you doing it for the good of others? Basically, goodwill and honesty. Those are pretty much the two main virtues if you know you're doing good or not. And then if you're providing value. And if so, then you can look at yourself and say, yes, I am a high value man. And the best way to look at it really quick is, if you don't have a lot of friends, if you are not giving anything to anybody, if you don't have any girl, right? This is a dating channel, so let's keep it with just women, right? If you don't have girls in your life, or even if you do have a few girls, do those girls really like you? Do they have sex with you? Or when they have sex with you, do they like to stick around? But then there's different values. There's fuckboy value and there's boyfriend value, but that, it gets really nuanced. But do you have girls? If not, you're not high value to women. By whatever benchmarks that women or many women gauge high value, you're not. Right? I had a client who was like, he's a kissless virgin nerd, right? And he's very stubborn. And we've had our problems between coach and student. I really had to tell him, like, dude, you're not fucking listening, right? You have this huge ego for no reason. And I like booted him out a few times. And then he came back. He's like, I'm sorry, I fucked up. Da, da, da. I said, okay, I said, you get one more chance. And so he started asking me some questions, and he said, when I'm walking around, sometimes I see girls look at me and I ignore them because, I'm better than them. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I get it, like I've been there before actually. And I'm like, why do you think you're better than women? Like, go into that question. Why do you think you're better than them? What do you, evaluate it honestly. Don't immediately say, no, I'm not better than them, I need to be humbled. No, think about it for a second. Are you better than them? If you are, what reasons? Tell me. List them out. Are you funny? Do you provide good dick? Are you seductive? Do you make them feel good? Are you kind to them? Do you inspire them? Do you teach them anything? What value are you providing? And I know the answer, it's fucking nothing, because he doesn't have any value. That's just the truth. And that's okay. It's okay if you have no value. The moment you realize you're an empty cup, you stop treating yourself like a full cup. And when you have a full cup, you don't put any water into it. So when you admit that you're an empty cup, you can start putting water into it and having a full cup and actually have value. So the belief that the unwillingness to recognize you're an empty cup is actually hurting you from becoming a full cup. It's a very painful truth to admit, but actually the pain is very instantaneous. I'm an empty cup. Fuck, that sucks. As soon as you start hating yourself about that, go, no, that's not helpful. Just start putting water in there. Start putting value in there. What value do you want to provide? Well, that's up to you. Just make sure it has virtue, honesty, and goodwill. You do that, you'll be a high value man. So that's the answer to your question. Are you a high value man? Well, there's your benchmark. Test yourself. All right. Hector Castillo, girlschase.com. If you want to become a high value man when it comes to skills with women and giving women a good time, here's my sales pitch part, right? But I think they're good products, right? I'm terrible at marketing and sales, obviously, from my subscriber count and my income. It's very median in all regards. But it's good products, right? So I have to be happy with it. And I can survive. So, I got to be humble and grateful for the fact that I can do this for a living. I'm not really successful by any means, except for with women. But hey, that's what I mastered, and that's what I got good at. So if you can, give back and you want to help me get a little bit more valuable, because I want to do some good things in the world, then buy my courses and it'll provide value to you too. It's not just fucking charity. So check out my texting book that's in the description. You can check out my college book. Even if you're not in college, it's very useful. It helps you understand gossip and reputation and dealing with girls and guys in friend groups. And people do not evolve beyond college or high school, right? So anything that is about high school life is equally applicable to real life. Pretty much no difference at all, 99.5% the same. And then I have a day game course, so how to approach girls during the day. That's in the description below. It's called Meet Girls Everywhere. And then if you want to do a one-on-one coaching with me, then you can sign up for that. And we can talk for 10 minutes and see if coaching is right for you. It's a bit expensive. I will say that up front. As of right now, For a 5-week program, I charge $2,000. For a 12-week program, I charge $4,000. And for 1 hour, I charge $527. It's expensive as fuck, but it's high value shit, and I know it's high value. I should actually be charging more, and I say that without any reservation of fake humility. I should be charging more, but I don't have the ability to. I don't, because I have to keep my prices somewhat reasonable because I'm not some high-flying, guy in a private jet, and that's okay. I don't really want to be that anyways. So yeah, consultation call, sign up, 10 minutes, we can talk. If it's right for you and you have the money, go ahead. If not, it's fine. You can just grab the products and watch all my videos, and you can do just fine. So Hector Castillo, girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. I'll see you soon. Ciao.